To prevent us from transitioning, they surround us with smoke and mirrors. They start the fire and let the smoke do the rest. The fire is fear. The smoke is your imagination. Your enemy turns your imagination and creativity against you, using them to build your personal hell or prison. The more imaginative you are, the more creative you are, the more power they have to twist those gifts to your disadvantage. While working on this video, I came across a film that referenced this tactic in both its title and in scene. Avatar, Fire and Ash. Coincidence? In the story, the antagonist Varang uses a hallucinogenic smoke powder that traps her victim in a delusional state, blurring reality and turning their own minds against them. This is exactly how the enemy works against us. Varang claims she used the smoke to see their souls. She is presented as a sorcerer seeking truth. We battle against witches and warlocks. Remembering the Matrix, when Morpheus was being interrogated, Morpheus was also put under a hallucinogen, and Agent Smith also wanted the truth.
I must get free, and in this mind is the key.
So there's a truth within us, something powerful and deeply rooted that the enemy recognizes, and instead of honoring it, they try to access it, distort it, and use it against us. In the movie Inception, they showed us that our adversary can resort to using our dreams to access this truth. The enemy creates chaos around us to stir something within us. We feel deeply, and those emotions ignite a fire inside. Then the smoke rises, and that smoke is our perception. It becomes a mirror. If the mirror is distorted, we begin to see ourselves incorrectly. We misread the situation. We question our worth. That is the very definition of clouded judgment. When fear ignites, the fire and imagination fill the air with smoke until we no longer can see correctly, and our creativity can end up exalting them and elevating them. Remember the elevator I talked about? Giving them far more power and credit than they deserve. And that's why we have to be careful with overthinking, because that's exactly what the enemy exploits. Repetition is what prepares the ground for fear. I said before, the perpetrators are trapped in a loop, constantly re-entering their own version of hell. And in going through it again and again, they attempt to manufacture one for us, using their time, their actions, even their body, as a physical representation of torment. In many depictions of hell, the walls are made of faces and limbs and bodies fused into them. They become the structure itself, the embodiment of suffering. That's why repetitions matter. When something is done enough, felt intensively enough, it begins to register as real. Familiarity creates perceived truth. They tap into the deepest truth rooted inside us and twist them up, using our own minds to construct a private hell. In some cases, they make themselves look like towering, unstoppable adversary, when in reality, it's just a man staging street theater.
Besides the great Oz, you ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Theatricality and deception. Powerful agents to the uninitiated, but we are initiated.
So they repeat the cycle, setting the stage and relying on your preconceived notions to fill in the rest. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is also described as a smoke or gas-like toxic. There is a strong resonance with smoke in the mind, and it's called pareidolia. When the mind sees faces or familiar things in randomness, like shapes in smoke, shadows, or patterns, it's pattern recognition operating at full sensitivity. Your brain is wired to detect faces faster than almost anything else because evolution. Faces meant survival, ally, threat, emotion, intention. Missing a face could cost you. Seeing one that isn't there costs almost nothing. So the system is biased towards over-detection. You gotta be the brake for yourself. Now here's where imagination comes in. Fear heightens vigilance. Vigilance increases pattern sensitivity. Increased sensitivity makes input more likely to be interpreted as meaningful. When imagination is strong and emotion sensitivity is heightened, the mind feeling unfamiliar stimuli with intense, often fear-based interpretations, causing neutral or random things to be judged as life-threatening or even demonic.
Oh, having trouble. Take a seat, have a drink. You look like a man who takes himself too seriously. Do you want my opinion? You need to lighten up.
You see how the perpetrators live in their own hell directly, and they are used as a construct of hell for us to imagine ours indirectly, manipulating our interpretation of events. Hell isn't a place we go, it's a place we construct in our own minds when fear takes control of imagination. When the program sets the stage by sensitizing you to its tactic, it leans on your preconceived notion to make you anticipate what will happen next. But in reality, you don't really actually know what will happen. So why exhaust yourself trying to predict it? They exploit the natural pattern-seeking tendency of the mind. A preconceived notion is not reality. It is a prediction dressed up as certainty. The brain is not built to see the world as it is. It is built to anticipate what comes next. Modern neuroscience researchers suggest the brain is a fundamental predictive machine. It generates models first, then fits incoming information into those models. So when fear is present, the model changes. If the preconceived notion is something is wrong, something is evil, I am in danger, then the mind begins scanning for confirmation, and because perception is partially constructed, it will find patterns that match the expectation. That's the deep truth. We don't just react to reality, we filter reality through what we already believe. The program gets us to believe, then exploit our mind's predictive system. And here's more uncomfortable layers. Preconceived notions often feel like intuition. That's why you must be careful with overthinking. Intuition is fast pattern recognition based on past memory. Fear-based preconceived notions are fast pattern recognition distorted by emotional charge. The mind hates uncertainty. So when something is unclear, shadows, faces and smoke, silence, people's behavior, it fill in the gap with the most emotionally available explanation. If fear is emotionally dominated, the explanation will push towards something dark. The real power and danger is that once a preconceived notion forms, it becomes self-sealing. You notice confirming evidence, you ignore this confirming evidence, the belief strengthens, your behavior shifts in response, the world reacts differently to you. The reaction feels like proof. It becomes a loop. The deep truth is not that hell itself is imagination, it's that imagination, when fused with fear and mistaken for truth, becomes a reality shaping force. But here's the balanced truth. The same mechanism that can imprison you can also liberate you. If preconceived notions can distort perception, consciously chosen perspective can expand it. The difference is awareness. When you can say, this is a thought, not a fact, this is a prediction, not a prophecy, you break the spell.